We're back for another one of our cozy chats. This might be a little bit longer than usual because we've just kind of freestyled it. We're going to be talking about anxiety, specifically social anxiety, because so many people suffer from that. We've both been through it. We both deal with it now. Hope this helps some of you. It's very easy to feel like you're the only person in the world that's suffering from this. I think it's just important to just be open, honest. It's horrible, it's not easy, but there are things that can help, and we've both learned a lot along the way.
Part of the social anxiety thing is massively about me projecting things that aren't real onto situations. I'll be in a group of people and I'll be thinking, everyone here hates me.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks I'm disgusting. I'm so ugly compared to everyone. I am so underqualified compared to everyone. I don't have any achievements compared to everyone. These thoughts just spiral and get crazy. I will amplify them so much that I feel completely incapacitated by them, basically. Sometimes that will lead to like panic attacks. Not so much these days, but it definitely used to in big social gatherings or even the perceived pressure of having to go out with a friend or anything. It would become a really, really big deal to me. It's only over time that I've really learned how to begin to deal with that. I wouldn't say I have dealt with it, but I know you've had kind of similar
for me, right? It's usually not about my appearance. It will be things like feeling like I'm a failure compared to everyone, feeling lots of anxiety about the first question that people ask you when you meet them is, oh, so what do you do? And I've had a lot of issues with academics, struggling at uni, I've been unemployed, so I dreaded that question so much. And even going on dates and things like that, natural thing you talk about when you first meet someone is work. So if you have any issues with that, or you have any feelings of shame,
it just fills you with dread and horror.
You kind of assume that that's going to be the number one talking point, which often it isn't.
Get fixated on that. Something that is really helpful in that situation though is to flip things on their head, and instead of talking about you, talk to the other person about them and find out about them, talk to them about what they're doing, what they're interested in and all that stuff, and kind of just deflect the conversation away from you. It's not necessarily a great way of having a sort of reciprocal conversation with someone, but it does make you feel better about things, I think.
You're not going to develop like deep relationships with people that way, but at the same time, in a social situation, if you're at a family party or something like that, and you're just around these random people who you might not ever see again, or you are rarely going to see them again, then it is quite a good strategy to make the conversation about them, because then the focus isn't on you, and it also is a good trick to make you seem more friendly and outgoing than you are, because for you to ask someone questions about themselves makes
shows
you
the level of engagement.
Yeah, it makes you seem like you're interested in them, you want to know more about them. Those are all qualities that a kind of confident person or someone who's good at networking and socializing is capable of.
Every year I go to a family Christmas party, and every year I get really, really stressed about it. I don't really tell anyone that I'm stressed, but inside I feel like I'm basically just screaming and going, I can't do this, I can't do this. Every year I do it and it's fine. Something that someone very wise once told me is that it won't be as bad as you think it will be once you actually get there. It's not true of every single situation, but it is often true. That Christmas party thing is just an example of that. Every year I think it's going to be terrible, even though the last year it wasn't. You have to stop these intrusive, crazy thoughts from having a complete hold over your mind. There's definitely a part of you that is rational and logical and sane, if you want to use that word, or normal, if you want to use that word, whatever that means. Part of the struggle is not letting the negative, anxious, worrying part take over that good part of you that is still there hanging on.
This is something that is discussed a lot in CBT, or cognitive behavioural therapy. Definitely worth asking your doctor about it, especially if you're in the UK, because the NHS have lots of resources.
They provide a lot of CBT.
There's also a great website called Mood Gym, which I will leave details to below. It's like self-taught CBT, and their exercises online, and you can kind of keep track of your moods. A lot of the techniques in CBT are about eliminating these unhelpful thoughts or thinking patterns, things that we all do but that you don't realize you're doing. Things like when you're asking yourself, what if this happens, what if that happens, like predicting these hypothetical, terrible situations that could
Catastrophizing.
potentially happen. Trying to read people's minds, like thinking you know what other people think. You might think, oh, this person hates me, or they think I'm stupid, or they think I'm a weirdo, but what evidence do you really have to back that up? Have they said that to you? Probably not, unless someone has exhibited behavior or outright told you that they think this about you. You're putting thoughts in their mind, so that's on you, which is quite worrying to think about, because we all do this to some degree. That's how humans operate. If you do suffer from social anxiety, then these situations can just amplify these horrible thoughts, and you think, oh no, they're gonna think I'm this, they're gonna think I'm that, people are gonna, oh, if I'm quiet then people are gonna think I'm weird, if I open my mouth they'll think this, but you don't know what people are gonna think. How do you know that?
You don't. It's definitely so easy to get wrapped up in those thoughts, and a lot of beginning to conquer my anxiety and awkwardness, or self-perceived social awkwardness, is talking myself down from that really heightened level. The only way you can do that really, that I know, is to just keep telling yourself that it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, even if you don't believe it. Even if,
like, fake it till you make it.
The way that I see things, for me, is like there's a rational part of my mind and an emotional part of my mind. The rational part knows that everything's okay. The emotional part is going crazy, haywire, cuckoo, like just doing its own thing.
Smashing everything up.
Smashing the house up. It's a mess. But I have to just keep the rational part of my mind going. Like, just keep it ticking along. Just keep going. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. And something I'm a really, really, really big believer in is treating yourself when you feel anxious or depressed or upset, or when you're feeling any negative feeling, as though you were an upset child, basically.
Be kind to yourself.
Be over the top kind to yourself, like so kind. You know, when you see a child screaming in the street, your first instinct, I would hope, is to be really kind to the child, not to beat it up and kick it and go, you're rubbish, stop that, blah blah blah. And so you shouldn't treat yourself any different from that. I think that's so important, and I have found that so hard over the years. It's something you have to do.
Easier said than done.
Oh, all these things are easier said than done. But if you can just start employing a tiny little bit of these things, then hopefully, in theory, it will snowball for you, and you'll begin to incorporate more and more of them. You'll be able to be kinder and kinder to yourself. It's not an overnight change, but it is a change that you can make happen.
And the more you get used to being compassionate towards yourself, allowing yourself to feel these feelings, but not beating yourself up about feeling these feelings, then the easier it's going to be to talk to other people about it as well, because you won't feel so ashamed and stupid about it. If you can be kind to yourself, then you'll find it a lot less scary to reach out to other people and say, either reach out for help, or say a friend is texting you and asking you if you're going to go to a party, or inviting you somewhere, and the thought of that just fills you with dread, and you don't know how to, you feel like you don't have a good excuse to say no.
You feel like you're trapped, basically.
The number of times I've made up wild excuses to like bail out on plans because I didn't want to say, sorry, I'm too depressed to leave my house, or the thought of going to this thing makes me really panicky. No one wants to say that, because it's your instinct to pretend that everything's fine and like keep up appearances.
You feel that it's embarrassing to say those things. In reality, it's not. People are always, or almost always, so understanding about these things. And if they're not, I don't know if those are the kind of people you want around you.
If someone's your friend, a real friend, and they've invited you to their birthday party, right? You don't want to miss their birthday party. Nobody wants to like not show up to their friend's birthday party because they're anxious. So your friend might be disappointed that you're not there because they love you and they want to spend time with you. But if you say, I'm sorry, I just can't do it, like I feel so anxious, they're not gonna drop you for that reason.
Exactly.
If they're your friend.
We had that literal exact situation on Amy's birthday party last year when I felt like I can't do this. And in the end I did do it, but when I told her that I felt that I couldn't do it, okay, you were disappointed that you thought I wasn't gonna be there.
Yeah, but we could make a compromise. So I said, okay, this is actually a really good example because
Yeah.
I organised some drinks for my birthday. I invited like 15 people maybe.
Yeah.
I was gonna have 15 people coming. Chloe was really anxious.
I didn't know anyone who was going.
Yeah, like that's scary. I would be anxious too.
Yeah.
So I said to Chloe, okay, you and I will go for drinks first. Then if you feel up to it, you can stay.
Yeah.
If you don't, no pressure. Like at least we've had that time together.
Yeah.
So I think that's another way. If you can make it clear to your friends, you're not disrespecting them by
Yeah.
not wanting to engage in these
Definitely not.
anxiety-inducing social situations. It doesn't mean you never want to leave your house, or even if you do not want to leave your house, it doesn't mean you can't have people come over to hang out with you. For me, a lot of the time was I desperately wanted to be around people. When my anxiety was at its worst, feeling lonely or feeling isolated
God, yeah.
did not help at all, but at the same time it was so hard to force myself out and force myself into these groups of people.
Mhm.
So you have to take baby steps and do things that are comfortable for you. If you're not comfortable going to your friend's birthday party, maybe ask them if you can do like a dinner with just the two of you, or
Yeah.
you know, you have to try and
Be kind to
Yeah.
yourself and take into account what it is that's going to make you feel safe and okay. Because when it comes down to it, for me anyway, the main thing about social anxiety is that I feel incredibly insecure and incredibly unsafe, basically. Those are the two big feelings that come up for me. So if you can do anything to eliminate or lessen either of those feelings, then that's what's going to help you. And for me, that's doing things like making compromises with people, like in the birthday party example. That was really helpful for me. And eventually I did stay out with those people and
it was
had
fun.
a really nice time. Yeah.
But it was kind of going out that was the scariest bit. So once you were kind of already out,
Yeah, it was okay. It's so stressful because you don't want to let people down and you don't want to let yourself down, but there's just this negative voice in your head that's going, it's not okay, it's not okay. You can't let that drown out the voice that's telling you it is okay.
this comes up at university for a lot of people. When you go to university, especially if you move away from home, you are thrust into this bubbling,
New, scary
like,
world.
pressure cooker
Yeah.
of social events every night, going out clubbing,
Freshers Week. Oh,
That's a whole other video. How to survive Freshers Week. So there's stuff going on all the time and you feel like everyone, all these thousands of people on campus are all social butterflies. To try and navigate that in a way that is comfortable for you, and it is completely possible to have a social life at university if you join societies, things where you can meet like-minded people in a place that is not as scary as like a nightclub. You can do things that you enjoy or discover something new, and in a kind of environment where so many other people are probably so anxious, especially when you're in your first year at university. Everyone there is terrified that they're going to have no friends because the vast majority of people go to university not knowing anyone else who's going to be there. You're forced to live with complete strangers. Like, it's a scary situation for everyone. So I think you just have to bring yourself down like that. If you're ever in a situation where lots of people are going through the same thing as you, just think everyone is trying to put their best foot forward and give off the best first impression and be their most confident self, and behind closed doors everyone is freaking out.
That's kind of also true of starting new jobs and starting new anything,
Yeah.
really. Any of those situations where you feel like there is a possibility that you might be the odd one out and not have any friends.
Everyone has been the new person once.
Yeah, but my dad always says to me, you only ever have to do the first day once.
Yeah.
Which is true. So if it is that first day of uni or that first day of work or that first day of anything really, you only have to do the first day once and then you're into it. And so that kind of anxiety that you have about first day fear, it only happens once, and by the end of the first day you've probably sort of made a friend anyway. You've met some people at least, or you've spoken to someone who you might possibly be able to have a chat with the next day.
The same thing goes for first dates as well.
Oh my god, yeah.
Because they can be terrifying, and it's hard dating out here, especially in a world of like Tinder and online dating where a lot of the time it's blind dates, or you know, nearly blind, like
Yeah.
you've seen someone's picture but you don't really know what they're going to be like. But you just have to remember, okay, this is an opportunity to meet a new person. If it's horrible, I can leave and I can never see them again.
Yeah,
like,
there's no obligation to see them again.
9 times out of 10, the worst case scenario with the first date is that you're just not ever going to want to see the person again.
Yeah.
But that's okay, there are ways around that. You can block their number, you can deal with that if it happens. But usually it will be alright, and even if you don't have a second date, you will have survived the first date and know that you can carry a conversation with a human who might even be into you. You never know.
This was kind of the first of our little chats about anxiety, not necessarily trying to find solutions to it or whatever, but just putting the word out there a little bit that this is what we've been through. Maybe you guys are going through it. Hopefully we can help each other out a little bit and just talk about things. So if you have any comments about anxiety, anything you'd like to talk to us about, anything you'd like to say to anyone else reading the comments, please leave what you want to say down below, because we want to make a kind of little community here.
Yeah, we definitely also want to delve deeper into talking about mental health. The main thing here is reducing stigma, making all these things less shameful to talk about, making you aware that this is so much more common than you think.
You're not alone.
Which means that so many other people are able to survive it, and you definitely can. Like, we have both been in such low places. We're still working on it.
Yeah, we're working on it.
We have bad days. I get really intense anxiety about social situations sometimes. Sometimes I really don't want to go out, and I either have to force myself to or try and get out of it. It's not easy to get around these things. But the main thing is just to know that you are stronger than this. It is possible to take control of your anxiety.
Don't throw the towel in. You've still got it in you. Trust us, you've still got it in you.
Yeah, and whether you are seeing medical professionals about this, or therapists, or whatever you have access to, even if you don't have access to any of those things, we're here. We can talk about it, and talking and just being open and honest with yourself and other people.
That's a big step.
Usually the first big step to feeling better.
Yeah. We really hope you liked this video, guys, and it was helpful, and we will see you next time. Bye.